it's Anahita Rao back again, and I wanted to speak about a couple of things today. So I'm going to start the first video with a talk about the two most challenging rashis. So the two most challenging, the most mysterious, you could say, the most karmic signs of the zodiac. What do you suppose those two are? I'm sure you can guess. Yeah, I'm referring to Scorpio and Aquarius, of course. So why are Scorpio and Aquarius the most karmic signs of the zodiac? Well, simply put, they are ruled by Ketu and Rahu. Co-ruled by Ketu and Rahu, the two shadow planets. So this brings us to the next question. Why are Rahu and Ketu the two most pivotal karmic points in the birth chart? Let's take Scorpio first. Now Scorpio's rulership, as we all know, comes under the two planets Mars and Ketu. The two very malefic, fiery planets. Why malefic? Because they have the power to do the greatest harm and cause the greatest fears and frustrations in our lives. Mars is a first-rate malefic, and Ketu is a shadowy planet, so hard to predict. So what are some of the themes that come to your mind when you think of Scorpio? Emotional, sensitive, passionate, battle, war, sexual, sensual, depth, intuitive about themselves and about others, keen observers of human nature, vindictive and vengeful. Scorpio is also known as the most sensitive sign. So they always try to be 3 steps ahead of everyone else on the chessboard so that they can keep from getting emotionally hurt. This is something that I've noticed for people that have Sun or Moon in Scorpio, or they have a bunch of planets there, so they have a lot of that Scorpio energy. They're extremely driven, both sexually and in battle, because Mars and Ketu are the two most dangerous tempers of the zodiac. Whereas Mars will likely stab you on impulse in a fit of rage, Ketu may take years to take revenge and will do so very slowly and very strategically. And this quality makes Ketu loaded with karmic consequence, as you can imagine, because the karma that you are accumulating when you're doing that is not just in your action, it's in your thought. It becomes part of your consciousness, and then it seeps right into your subconscious. So heavily loaded with karma. So when you're plotting and you're scheming, you're also accumulating karma. When you're acting on what you're plotting and scheming about, of course you're also accumulating karma. So it's not only our actions, but also our thoughts. And not just, I'm not talking about the thoughts that come to us out of irritation and frustration, you know, the anger that comes and it goes. You know, we might go to the post office and the queue is so long that we're irritated and angry. And so what are we thinking about? We're thinking about, you know, why doesn't the person in front of us move a little faster, or why doesn't the person at the counter do their job a little bit faster? I'm not talking about those kinds of thoughts. I'm talking about thoughts that over time, where the thoughts are so concentrated in negativity that they seep inside of you and just they become a part of your consciousness and your subconsciousness, and that memory, it creates such a strong imprint that you not only have to deal with it in this lifetime, you take it with you in subsequent lifetimes. Those are the kind of thoughts I'm talking about that sort of over time They're entrenched in so much anguish and pain and anger and vindication and maybe jealousy and, you know, all those sorts of things, and they just build over time and build and build. Sometimes you will act on them, sometimes you will not. But the frequency of those thoughts and the concentration of those thoughts are enough to accumulate that karma. So that's something to very much take a note of. Okay, so let's talk about Aquarius for a minute then, whose rulers are Saturn and Rahu, the two airy planets. Saturn, of course, we know is also first-rate malefic, and Rahu is a shadowy planet. So what are some of the themes that come to mind when you think of Aquarius? Independent, eccentric, uncompromising, cold temperament. They can be very sort of detached, stubborn, self-centered, unpredictable, unreliable, sort of like Rahu. And Rahu is always taking and giving little in return. On the other hand, Saturn is slow to react, but is keeping score. And he can have a very miserable temperament. When you're only taking from others, or looking down, or judging others, the way that Saturn tends to do, of course it creates desire in you, because you want what others have. And when you get it, you're not satisfied, because then you want what someone else has. And that's the nature of Rahu. As we know, Rahu will go on this unrelenting and unending journey to satisfy its desires. And again, these actions create more and more and more karma. So then this brings us to the next question. Why do we take rebirth? Two reasons. Karmic debt, as created by Ketu, or the unfulfilled desire, which is represented by Rahu. So either we must pay back karma in some form or the other. This is signified by where Ketu is sitting in the chart, and we can see that. Or we take birth because of unfulfilled desires. This is signified by where Rahu is sitting in the chart. To get a deeper understanding, we must see in what signs they're sitting. So let's take an example. Let us suppose you are Cancer rising, you have a Cancer lagna, and you have Rahu in Gemini, and then for you Mercury becomes a karmic planet, because Rahu is sitting in Mercury's sign, Gemini. Of course, you also have to see Ketu in Sagittarius, making Jupiter also a karmic planet, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius. This will reveal issues related to both Jupiter and Mercury that will come up in your life that you have to deal with. So in this example, Ketu sitting in Sagittarius is going to activate the Jupiter themes that you'll have to deal with. It may play out as revenge and battle with your children, or even your teacher, or your guru, as Jupiter is the karaka for children and teachers. This theme could play out in your entire life, in subtle manner, but if you do go through a Rahu Ketu Dasha or Antardasha, those issues will definitely come to the surface. With Mercury, it could be issues related to your siblings. You could also face challenges with education and communication, as Mercury becomes your karmic planet. Now we have to see what lordships they represent. So we look at the karaka, and then we look at the lordships. For a Cancer lagna, Jupiter represents 6th and 9th house. So again, it could be issues connected with higher education, with gurus, your co-workers, health issues, as this all comes under Ketu's domain. It is here where you will feel some insecurity, just generally. And feelings of resentment may also come up. Similar to Ketu, you could have had battles, and maybe you could have taken revenge or mistreated these people in your past lives. Mercury here becomes the 2nd and 11th lord for a Cancer Lagna. So in these areas, you may have been too selfish in the past. Maybe you were obsessed with wealth and you were always chasing it. Similar to the qualities of Rahu, you may have been manipulative, self-serving without giving back. You could have had issues with your family in this regard. And maybe in this life your family has become kind of unpredictable and unreliable because of it. For instance, this can also be directly connected to elder siblings. As we know, 11th house is symbolic of the elder siblings. So then, of course, the natural question is, what is the solution? Well, of course, there's many ways of handling this, and you have to do what suits you best. So here are my thoughts, some ideas that you can ponder over. Number 1, forgive those who have harmed you or you have harmed. And that doesn't mean that you have to go back and start a relationship with these people. You can do that from afar. So it's not necessary to reunite with people that have harmed you or that you have harmed, for instance, because this can be uncomfortable. Of course, if you have to see them and if they are part of your family structure, then it's a little bit easier. But forgiveness can happen from afar. Seva. Giving to those who have similar issues to you, but are far worse off. Excellent remedy. Yeah? Letting go on a regular basis by cultivating a daily spiritual practice. When you're doing sadhana on a very disciplined and regular manner, then all of this is getting burnt off, this karma. All of the things that you have, the imprints in your mind that come from previous lives, or even from this life, in your past, your history, whatever you've done, whatever you thought, it becomes part of your cellular structure, actually. And by doing a spiritual practice on a daily basis, you are letting go, without even realizing, but that's actually what you're doing. So it's automatically happening. The key and the trick for this to actually work effectively is to do it on a very regular basis. I would say daily. You should have some practice and stick to it. Now, ultimately, Scorpio will bring out cruelty in yourself or in others, depending on where it's placed in your chart. That's something to watch for with Scorpio-related themes, planets sitting in Scorpio. One thing that I would say is another effective remedy is to feel relief from the Scorpio-related issues. The best remedy is to worship Vishnu. Very simple remedy. You can do a Vishnu mantra. And ultimately, Aquarius will bring loss to whatever it signifies or wherever it is placed in your chart. And again, you have to look at the planets associated with Aquarius. To feel relief from Aquarius-related problems, the best remedy is to worship Shiva. But always remember, whatever it is, whatever you do, whatever you don't do, under no circumstances should you judge yourself, berate yourself, or feel guilt. Because that is the thing, that very thing that keeps you stuck in this cycle. Rebirth, coming back. Same issues, dealing with them again and again, same patterns. So do not judge yourself. Letting go is the best thing. The objective actually with Jyotish generally is to create the self-awareness. It's not a magic wand that an astrologer comes and fixes all your problems. You have to do your own bit, but the path the first step in the path is to create that self-awareness, and that's very, very important. So again, not to criticize or judge yourself for what is happening in your birth chart. That is the key, and something to always keep in mind. So that's my bit there on karma and Scorpio and Aquarius, and I hope that you found that helpful. Please feel free to subscribe below if you would like to hear more videos, and I would of course appreciate your comments. Thank you. Cheers.